intent is sort of visible. The government has allocated 1,000 crores to India AI mission to build national compute capacity, support startups, fund AI research and talent. And this is FY27 numbers. Semiconductors continue to see sustained backing. 8,000 crore for modified semiconductor and display manufacturing program, another 1,000 crore for India Semiconductor Mission 2.0. That was the big announcement this year, keeping the momentum behind large and capital intensive projects and announced over the last past 2 years. Moving beyond AI and chips, the budget has quietly kind of talked about the digital backbone. In the last 2 years, we have been talking about data centers a lot more with the onset of AI and that diffusion kind of taking place. While they don't kind of appear as a standalone item, line item, tax holidays have been announced for cloud providers. They have been extended to 2047. Safe harbor margins for IT services have been also rationalized and expanded. Overall, IT and telecom spending has been pegged at 74,000 crore plus. But the big question, however, is not the intent but the impact. Do these allocations and tax reforms actually lower friction for startups and deep tech firms? Are we building a globally competitive semiconductor ecosystem or just assembling incentives? Are and perhaps the most important question would be, do we have the talent pipeline to match this ambition? To unpack this and more, we have a panel representing the full stack of technology value chain, you could say that. We have with us Ashok Chandak, President of India Electronics and Semiconductor Association. We have Neeti Sharma, CEO of staffing firm TeamLease Digital. We have Dr. Nagendra Nagaraja, founder, CEO, and chairman of QpiAI, and Ankush Sabharwal, founder and CEO of CoRover AI. First of all, Mr. Chandak, let me go to you. Semiconductor seems to be the centerpiece of everything tech when it comes to budgets. Of course, they take the large part of the capex when it comes to building any kind of sovereign technology. That's been clear in the last many years. What are your takeaways from the budget and the address that Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman kind of did earlier today?
Hi, thank you, Rohit, and happy to be in the panel. The Union Budget announced today builds strongly on the foundation and a progress that is achieved under the previous 5 years time frame, both on ISM 1.0 as well as the electronic sector policies. And now India is moving from aspirations to credibility and to the execution, making itself as a serious and investable destination. And as it is evident from some of the budget supports, the policy measures is one of the important aspect of that. So the statement signals a very important point here actually, which I would like to highlight. It's a clear evolution from just the fab and OSAT centric approach to a full value chain strategy, which covers the equipments, the materials, the IP, the supply chain, including chemical gases, etc. So now we are moving towards a structural player in a global semiconductor ecosystem. And it is not only limited to the manufacturing of the chips, but owning the capabilities across the design, the product creations, and the supply chain, including the upstream inputs. So that's very important aspect on a semiconductor perspective. I want to also mention here the 1,000 crore is not the allocation of ISM 2.0, is going to be much higher actually. My understanding is the exact amount and the quantum is not yet spelled out in the budget. It announced that ISM 2.0 would happen, which is one of the important signal I would call to the industry as well as the various stakeholders that there is a policy continuity and a semiconductor remains the core area of focus. Now, beyond this thing, there are a few things which I noted in the budget are also worth mentioning, which is related to the R&D, the training, the supply chain resilience, obviously, and also a focus on a technology adoption. So be it the AI mission, quantum mission, the RDI fund which was announced, all these things finally also are important element to the growth of the semiconductor sector. And you mentioned already 8,000 crore. So there is a 2,000 crore for fabs, 5,000 crore for OSAT, and about 1 crore, 900 crore for SCL modernization. So this is the extra outlay, which is about 70% more than the budgetary allocation compared to last year as a incentive to be paid out for the implementation and execution. And in addition, there is a spend outlay of about 1.5 K, or let's say 1,500 crores for ECMS, which used to be paltry 30,000 or maybe 30 crore last year. So that's also a big step up. So overall, I see that we are moving from ambition to execution. The private sector as well as the global guys are responding. Obviously, there are few challenges as how do we do the international tie-ups, how do we bridge the talent gaps and other topics, which we can discuss further should time permit.
Mr. Chandak, if I can just do a follow-up and get to understand,
Sure.
we have been talking about semiconductors as the centerpiece of what we're doing on technology side in the last 4 or 5 years now. We have seen political will, but let me kind of get an understanding from you. Where are we when we talk about enterprises? We talk about global companies coming into the country. We have local players like Keynes as well, kind of stepping up. Where do you see the momentum kind of going when it comes to 2026?
See, my view is there are two fundamental points which everybody need to understand. Number one is this is the long haul sector. It's a capex heavy and the implementation heavy. The fabs take 4 years, sometimes 5 years to build the big fabs, and the OSAT also takes like 12 months to 24 months. So we have to wait till these plants gets completed. What we understand this year, at least four plants are going to go into the commercial production. Now, under MIT, under ISM 1.0 by MIT, last year 10 projects were approved for semiconductor manufacturing. Those would receive the incentives under the ISM 1.0, or they call Semicon India program. But in addition, we are also tracking, there are at least five more projects. Those are in the pipeline and these are approved and supported by the state governments. In Maharashtra, there is one, there is a Gujarat, there is one Chhattisgarh, there is also in Tamil Nadu and also in Karnataka. So the projects wise, these have already moved up. The good thing is the Indian corporates, those were not willing to step in into this sector 5 years ago or 3 years ago, are now very much interested. So we have seen Tata, we have seen, let's say you referred about Keynes, but also Murugappa Group as a CG Power and HCL Group along with Foxconn. So you see Indian corporates are stepping in. And other than the capex, the long gestation period, the second point I want to highlight is let's accept the fact and nothing wrong in that. India never had the manufacturing expertise and a process know-how or technology for this. So we are today highly dependent on the global counterparts. Either they come and set up their operations just like Micron is doing, ATP on their own, or they get into a technology tie-ups with the Indian counterparts like CG Power as a technology tie-up, Tata Group has a technology tie-up, Keynes, and some other people, including HCL with Foxconn. So that is why our further future progress is also very much dependent on how we attract the global players, the international companies, to come to India, either invest on their own or join hands or a technology transfers. And I see that that is also good progress. Last month I was in Japan for a Semicon Japan event, very highly attended, and I met several companies, including we had an Indo-Japan forum where India's Semiconductor Mission CEO, Mr. Amitesh Sinha, others also joined. So there is a strong interest from even Japan, and there are other countries also. Companies are very much interested, and that is what I would like to mention. That last year or last couple of years, we achieved a status of a trustworthy nation in this sector. So the biggest win in 25 is trust. And the biggest topic we need to address in 26, 27 is the execution and scale up. And that is how we should progress.
Right. So capex has gone up, education and scale up has to happen. Let me bring in Ankush founder and CEO of CoRover, and he's an AI startup. And these guys are working with Google. They are beneficiaries of government funds as well. Ankush, a lot of conversation. I mean, the FM has kind of highlighted AI to be under one of the three kartavyas. What does this kind of mean for the AI momentum in India? You know, last week we were covering Davos and we were talking about the global players and how they are approaching given the geopolitics. If you can give us your takeaways from the budget and where we are kind of placed as India.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. So great to be here. Thanks, Rohit. I think I see here a big transformation from the support to R&D innovation to the adoption, right? So if you see, especially I think Nagendra is here, the National Quantum Mission and India AI Mission, huge, I think great intent and great execution to support the tech companies like us to build the platform. So I think that probably should continue, but I think more than that, the adoption has to be thought through. And I think the pre-budget, I was expecting the same. So besides supporting us, there should be support to the industry, to the organization, to the consumers to adopt this technology, right? So technology will keep building, right? There's no end to it. But I strongly believe we have good enough technology to now start using the technology in the sectors which matter, right? So which is the sector which matters the most is the food, right? All other industries come later. So, right, so food is important. And I always used to say, hey, where is the AI? So someone has to sow the seed and someone has to nurture it, harvest it, transport it, clean it, cut it and cook the food and eat it. So literally, as if they have heard it. So they said, farms to factory to fork. I think this is the right way to think. We can have enough FOMOs. We need to sometimes the vanities, optics are also important. We also, India has done it. All of that, let few people do it. The most of us should build applications which would help us in the sectors which matter. Agriculture, food, and healthcare, education, maybe the law and order, and few others, right? So maybe the education and others. So I think it's the right intent, and I think I forgot the name. Bharat, what was that? Bharat Vistar, right? You see again, government is thinking that last mile thing. It's kind of multilingual AI led system. It's very low hanging, right? Many people were already doing it. Now you see that at national scale, someone is talking about it. It will be connected with the ICAR and it will help farmers. So I think if it is one thing which I liked or which I was anyways hoping was the adoption of emerging tech. I might be biased to talk just about AI. So other things are again important. See, I think though as we were richest 400 years ago, I think that is an opportunity again to reclaim it because see for AI, I always see as a three aspects. One, three kind of skills are required. One is AI literacy, which is not that important to discuss because people figure that out to use the AI led solutions without they knowing whether AI is used. The second is building the platform, right? Few companies have to build. Third, which can actually disrupt and take India to the leading place is the AI applications. I think we really have to think through it. So I think there is one more program from probably education to what was that? Education to enterprise something and education to
The committee
employment
has been.
enterprise standing committee. So I think this is important to articulate what kind of skilling is required. Deep tech skilling is already happening through engineering colleges and all that. So literacy ignore. So to build AI application, right? So how do we democratize the creation of technology? We have to rethink it. We would not need engineers to create AI applications, right? So everyone, maybe 12th class onwards and maybe any graduate should be trained or some kind of policies, some kind of awareness so that they dare enough think about the problem and start solving it, right? And then we will see all sectors, all problems, and actually can be solved with AI, or at least can be efficient in many sectors. I think right direction. Of course, we all have to now go back and see how do we leverage it and really use it for the benefit of the country and the citizens at large.
Ankush, AI diffusion is something that is kind of talked about a lot internationally. We have a lot of users in country. I mean, OpenAI talks about India being the second largest consumer of ChatGPT. Anthropic has also kind of come out with a lot of numbers, and both of these companies are now coming to India. All right. So, what are the risks for startups here? One of the jarring numbers that you kind of see. I mean, I don't want to take names here, but when you make comparisons, you don't see as many users. And is there sort of a older colonial hangover when it comes to users, when it comes to Indian products? Are we not seeing as many users of Indian AI companies and products?
No, thanks for asking this. If you see, I think first of all, we should welcome everyone, right? So, and because no sector we could win just to not allow others. It would benefit in multi aspects. Let us also not blackmail people saying, "Hey, we are sovereign. Take our solution and don't take the best solution." So let them come. Let us compete and provide the best solution, and the pricing would also be normalized. So that is one thing. Second, if you're saying there are no users, so users for what? So why we need users, or why people would pay for the current AI services, which is question answer and all of that. So the important sectors which I was talking about, they are anyways not even impacted or dented even 0.1%, right? So no one, whether it's global companies or Indian companies, have actually solved the problems at scale. I think everyone is coming to figure out that use case, or probably they would be able to fail fast or be successful fast with India, right? India, we citizens are is they're very fast in adopting new technology. I think to fail fast or to be successful fast, India is the right market, but everyone. So I think few companies are building platform, good, but using that platform or new platform or whatever, we have to find the right impactful cases which no one has figured that out, right? We should not have any FOMO. Let's not fear, enough pie for everyone, because every sector would be transformed using AI, right? So I think just competition to startup and all that, it should be there. So let even I think the prime minister said, let's not build the AI toys. So if we have the real competition, we would not dare enough to build the AI toys, right? So let's have the real competition, solve the real problems, and then um, competition is not much, right? I don't see many serious players doing serious work. I would actually urge to have more and more people, so that more people try to solve and we learn from others' failures also. There is no competition. Who is solving the real problems?
Right. Right. So, Ankush, thank you. I think one of the bigger things to kind of address and the next bit of technology to explore is also quantum. Dr. Nagendra, thank you for joining us. And you are also one of the beneficiaries of centers funding. And you had one of, I think you're the most bankrolled quantum startup of the country when it comes to center and also overall. Are you happy with this budget? What are you seeing? What are your perspectives? And also, if you can talk a bit about where we are as a country on the quantum front in 2026.
Thanks, Rohit. Thanks, everybody, for your time. So the thing is, there is one thing on the budget on the equipments and infrastructure. There is some says that they're given on energy equipment, fabrication of quantum, and unfortunately, we had to figure out how do we get the equipment rebate on that thing of thing. So that is one thing. That is, we are very thankful to National Quantum Mission, and they've been helping us a lot. The central government, not only central government, we also want to thank Karnataka government, which has been phenomenally helpful on setting up the QSC, Quantum Supremacy Center, where we got a land. And we also got our first order from IIIT Dharwad. Okay, we very thankful for both the government, center and state. A center has a pragmatic view of promoting technology. RDI fund is excellent thing that we will be also beneficiary, hopefully, of RDI fund for expanding our quantum supremacy center. We want to put at 100,000 qubit machines. That's going to be the most powerful quantum center in the world. First time we are talking about most powerful in the world. Okay. See, the problem with the technology, especially the intelligence, okay, you have to understand clearly there is an application layer, there is an infrastructure layer, and there is a technology, chip technology layer, and there is a lowest layer which is called energy. India is nowhere near the energy layer of US and China. In matter of fact, application we can do better. We have the most software engineers in the world. Application adaptation, yes, we will be good, but when it comes to honing up the full stack layer, but if you look at where the profitability is, or the way the wealth of AI is, that is going to be in the ground, that is energy layer, infrastructure layer, and chip technology layer. That's where the most profit is, right? And rest of them we can consider the application layer is 18 to 25% profit, and that's how it is going to play. Now, when you say we want to, what's the impact on quantum and AI? Quantum, we are a full stack company. Luckily, we are competing with likes of IBMs and Googles of the world, and no shying away from that. So we have built our fab. I'm talking to the location where the fab is. So this has been really enabled by central government, thanks to NQM and also state government, Karnataka. So this will lay the foundation for next generation of compute. But current generation, if you look at AI, it has to depend on GPUs, and it has to depend on a lot of energy. It has to depend on infrastructure. And if we consider the whole technology stack, we are just around maybe like 10% scratching the surface, and that the foundation model is somewhere else. So basically, that's the last game kind of thing, unless something drastic happens in AI and something comes back. That's there. But next generation, yes. When it comes to the power problems today, the problem with AI is like the grid is a problem because we can't transport that much power that AI is required. So people are building nuclear reactor next to the data center. So these are technologies really going to dominate in coming days. So we didn't, as India, like we didn't catch up semiconductor, we didn't catch up the OS operating system. Of course, we contributed richly to Linux, which is open source. But then AI is like the application layer, maybe like we may be very dominant because we have a lot of software engineers. But rest of the layers where the profit is, I think we may not be able to capture that. But in quantum, yes, we have a good chance because we have a lead here. Like we fabricated the qubit system before Taiwan does. Taiwan is at 20 qubit, we are at 64 qubit. So that means we did before Taiwan. Today, Taiwan announced their 20 qubit system, but we have 64 qubit here. And then we have building QSC that nobody has even thought about, which can compete with Stargate directly in terms of capability and certain workload. Stargate is the biggest data center that US is building with $500 billion capex, right? So these are things happening in India, and of course, the government has done phenomenally well. It's like this: they sowed the seed of innovation in quantum computing. Of course, we are one of the beneficiary. We are the plant that is growing into a big tree. Maybe we can create a forest as well. So that has been the case, and this budget also is taken care on the equipment side, energy equipments, and hopefully we can also get something in terms of the subsidies on the land, and as well as I was in Singapore day for yesterday, and there it's clear that they will also give subsidy for initial hiring. That means if you hire 10 people, they will subsidize 50% of the salary over 10 people, first 10 people. Maybe you have to come up with some of these things for early startup. We are not in early stage, but that for early startup would be great help. But we are very content and really thankful and very grateful to the government of India, our PM, Narendra Modi ji, where he has a fantastic vision. NQM is doing extremely well, and of course, we look forward for the great results. Next will be, of course, export policies and enabling, indigenous technology to be easily exported, and also making sure that we install maximum number of quantum computers in India. So those policies, if it is there in place, I think that would help as well. So overall, it's fantastic.
Right. Dr. Nagendra, Neeti has talked about hiring a bit, so let me bring you into the picture as well. Neeti, I wanted to kind of leave you last just because it's a big question mark in the age of AI, and also as the country kind of grows towards these frontier technologies and the scale they want India wants to kind of achieve is kind of been one of the highlights as well earlier today. So, if you can talk a bit about, where are we when it comes to having the necessary skills? We are also kind of setting up the education to employment committee. That was something that was talked about. Uh, if you can kind of give us, I think 2 years back, we had a lot more initiatives being talked about when it comes to women, children, employment and wages. This year, it was a bit of a continuity budget, is something that I would like to say. A bit more focus on perhaps technology, but not as much. But nonetheless, what are your takeaways?
Yeah, thanks, Rohit. And you're right. I think I've heard all the three other panelists. And, while we're talking about segments, what is an underlying horizontal across everything is how much skills do we have in our country that can fulfill the ambition of all the segments or all the sectors that we're talking about. In my view, I think we are still scratching the surface. We're getting started on AI. We are not there yet. I think we've obviously behind many other countries who had started couple of quarters or months or years ago. In terms of volume of talent, obviously India has the highest. We have a young population, our demographics are amazing, but how do we capitalize on on that, on the talent is equally important for us. Ankush did mention that, we do teach deep tech in engineering colleges. In my view, the percentage of students who actually learn that and are capable of doing anything on deep tech are so small as against what we actually can do. Because if you look at tier 2 institutions or tier 3 institutions, unfortunately, our education system is not uniform and we don't give the what do I call equal quality of education and opportunity to our students. So, do we have the wherewithal? I guess we do. The education to employment enterprises standing committee is a long word, so I keep forgetting. In my view, their agenda only has to bring the ecosystem together because government of India has been spending thousands and thousands of crores in skilling, across segments, across tier 2, tier 3 cities, across villages, whether it's a retail executive or a, software engineer, lots of programs have come and gone. What has not ended up is that after the training is the candidate, is the student getting a job. So the whole linkage between education, be it school education, higher education, apprenticeships, internships, work integrated learning, and thereon creating employable and employed job seekers. I guess that's the only agenda this committee should drive. I don't think they should drive anything else. We have an opening balance. We have a huge base. You talk of thousands and thousands of full stack developers that we have in our country. The base on, can we train them? Absolutely. Can we upskill them? Absolutely. But how do we do it uniformly? How do we give everyone an equal opportunity? How does a tier 2 engineering graduate benefit as much as a tier 1 engineering graduate? I think those are things are not called out, obviously. I think these are fine prints for each of these committees to define. But there would be about 3 to 4 million new AI jobs that will get created by 2030. Do we have the ready talent to fill these jobs? Not now. Can we do it? Absolutely. But there are lots of other things that are required to be done. And this is just AI. I mean, you were talking about semicon, you're talking about quantum, you're talking about deep tech, AI. Whether it is a chip design role, whether it is a product engineering role, there are so many new roles, exciting roles, very high value roles that are coming into our country. With about almost 2000 GCCs set up, many of them are not just back offices, they are business leaders in their own right. We have an opportunity to scale. I think the budget is in the right direction. But as I always call out, maybe it's the skeptic in me. It's not the intent that will help us alone. I think it's going to be the execution. How quickly, are the rules getting notified? How do they get implemented across states? How does everyone get equal opportunity? And how do we build our own AI skills for AI, data, chip design, advanced tech? I think there's just so much happening, so much to do. We have the capacity. I think it's about time that we build our capability. If everything that has been defined in the budget or called out in the budget today gets executed, we should be able to drive a lot of innovation and efficiency in our country. But it's all of us, and of course the government of India, the various state governments. We all have to do it together, is what I would really call out. But yeah, right direction. I keep calling out execution is key.
Quickly, Neeti, we have maybe only 2 minutes left with us, but if you can talk a bit about, one of the things focused on economic survey was that, uh, it's no more viable for us to kind of look at traditional job roles and how graduation and after that only work begins is the traditional way of going about, even outside our country. But that's been changing a bit more with apprenticeships. How quickly do we need to change that for every one of our industries, tech industry, to kind of be catered with the latest of the technologies and the latest of the talent?
Yeah, no, absolutely. In fact, hiring has very gradually been shifting from volume-based to skill-based. So if you look at over the last almost 12 to 18 months, even the IT services companies are not hiring the volumes that they're hired, but they are more than willing to pay a premium for the right talent and the right skills. So that shift is clearly happening. While we do what is required to be done, I think as employers, it is for us to also agree that just a degree will not be enough or a degree need not be enough. If organizations are saying, hey, it's okay if you are a 12th pass or a second year graduate, I will hire you because you have the right talent and the right skills and the urge to actually do more, the drive to do more. As employers, if we make that shift gradually, degrees will not be the only filter that all of us will use. Currently, that is the first filter, unfortunately, for most organizations. I know a lot of startups, a lot of AI startups are not looking at even graduates or STEM pass outs. They are looking at, you have the drive. Do you understand? Even if you're an 18, 19-year-old, as long as you're able to do what I ask you to, I will hire you and probably give you big bucks. So that shift is happening. But we have a very large working population. We have a lot of people in the informal sector as well. That will still be a very small percentage. We will have to make a mind shift and ensure that we start hiring people more for skills than just degree. That is where things will move. Apprenticeships, internships, work integrated learning, on the job learning, learn while you earn. I think all of those are optics. Many countries have dabbled with it, have been super successful. We are doing it. We've moved obviously for the last decade or so. We've made progress, but we need to do it at large scale. Otherwise, we'll still be talking of instances and nuances rather than actually moving the needle for our country.
We talked about moving the needle for the country in tech with all the four panelists here. I think Ankush talked about it, Nagendra, Dr. Nagendra talked about it, Mr. Chandak and Neeti, all of you have kind of talked about it. One of the common points of all of your conversations were education and scaling. At one point or the other, you have kind of touched on it. We hope to kind of continue these conversations. I'm just over time, so I'm trying to wrap up. Thank you, Ankush, Dr. Nagendra, Mr. Chandak, and Neeti for joining this conversation.